next year's CavsCast. As always, we are part of the Evergreen Podcast Network. It is Monday, April 24th, and I don't know. This could be a 5-minute pod. This could be an hour and 5-minute pod, Joe. I don't know. I don't know how much I even want to talk about this team going 0-2 in New York, losing on Sunday after they got embarrassed on Friday. Sunday, 102-93. Joe, your immediate reaction to Sunday's loss. I don't even want to talk about Friday. Sunday's
No,
loss.
Friday was like Friday was just Sunday might have been even worse. Like they should have won that game. Like Saturday, they're just beating the doors off them. But yeah, it's. I wrote in our Discord like this is. I don't know what team is out there right now. It's not the team that we watched during the regular season. Like it's just frustrating to watch. Like we knew heading into the playoffs, we knew the bench was going to struggle probably. There's going to be nights where they can't score. But it's just the big four is just not a big four right now. It's 1.5 given the day. Like yesterday, Mitchell was unbelievably bad. Garland played a good half. JA was dominated by Mitchell Robinson, and Mobley was in foul trouble. So it's just, yeah, I don't know what team is out there right now. It's not the team that I root for all year.
When we went into this series, we were talking about ranking the players and who the best players were in the series. And it was, in some order, Donovan Mitchell was really a no-brainer number one on everyone's list. And then you can pick your poison if you prefer Brunson, Darius, Mobley. It was kind of somewhere in that order with Randall, filling it out from there. And I mean, there's no doubt Brunson's been by far and away the number one best player in the series so far. And I don't know, is Josh Hart like top 3? Like he is just killing the Cavaliers.
Yeah, I would probably put Mitchell Robinson too. Yeah. Like his impact has just been crushing to the Cavs. Absolutely crushing. They can't rebound. And they're especially the first half yesterday, they were absolutely scared to go down low. Like they just did not want to attempt to even go up against them. It's crazy. It's just not the team that we watched all year. And I don't know if they can fix it in the last 3 games here, but man, it's upsetting, man. It just sucks.
They lost the rebound battle again yesterday, 47-33, gave up 17 offensive rebounds. Obi Toppin had 8 rebounds. Isaiah Hartenstein had 8 rebounds. And you look at the Cavs bench, I think Chetty had 5 and someone else had 1 or 2. I mean,
how about Jaron had 4?
Evan Mobley didn't break 10. It's just, and Joe and I talked about this a lot on Discord, but the bigs, they're getting out muscled. It's clear as night and day. But the one thing you can say for them is with the Cavs deciding to blitz Brunson, it just makes everyone scramble. And these Cavs, because they're they have such a strength disadvantage against the Knicks, when they're scrambling, they just cannot box out and control the rebound. So we're putting them in a position at this point where it's this or that for JB. It's either you play Brunson one-on-one and you probably give something up, or you blitz them and you risk giving New York, what's killed you the last couple of games, which is offensive rebounds, second chance points. I just feel like I'm going kind of crazy watching it happen again and again and again.
Yeah. Yesterday was real. I really agreed with. We talked about it in the last pod. Like I thought the blitzing worked in game 2, but it was like a more controlled blitz. Like the one yesterday was just awful. They would blitz like at half court, and obviously if you blitz at half court, like you pass it away, and you got to recover all the way down to the basket. Like it's just not. I don't know what was going on. Like it just didn't seem like they were organized with what they wanted to do in terms of kind of guarding Brunson. For some reason, they went to back to Garland guarding him for, I don't know what, 75%. It seemed like a crazy amount of possessions they put him on, and he just tore him up. And we knew that heading in, like that wasn't a matchup we were gonna do. And I don't know what JB struggled in this series. I thought yesterday was his worst by far. That was his worst game. He made every sort of wrong call that could have gone wrong, that made it even worse than it could have.
Yeah, we still got Ricky Rubio minutes. We got Darius guarding
Right.
Brunson, and I don't know if Knicks have been doing a lot of like guard picks, so maybe he assumes he's going to pick off, but again, you and I have talked about it a lot too already, but Levert at the small forward role, you're taking away any kind of production you're getting from the bench by putting Levert in at small forward. You're taking out Okoro, who's really the only guy that's been proven. Levert did a good job on him in game 2, but outside of that, taking Okoro out of the starting lineup is the only guy who you can have at least a shot at defending him one-on-one. He's stocky enough and he's quick enough to stay in front of Brunson. A couple of quick notes I had on game 4. That was the worst Donovan Mitchell game I think I've ever seen from him in a Cavs jersey. I don't think I've seen a worse game from him. And, it's tough right now. They're jamming the paint. They're stacking it, but 5 of 18, 0 for 4 from 3, 6 turnovers. Like, he's going to miss shots. The passing is what I have a problem with. Like, his reads were just terrible in game 4. They were brutal.
Yeah, like in the regular season, there were days where he just didn't have the shot, which happens to everybody. But like his playmaking was just a huge negative. It wasn't even like non-existent. It was a negative.
I mean, throwing the ball out of bounds, throwing it into Evan's legs. It's like, Donnie, what are you doing?
Right. And like, yeah, I would agree. That was his worst game as a Cav. And I don't think it was relatively close. Like, there was a game earlier in New York. I remember he struggled, but this one was just unbelievably bad. If they got like average, they win. They win the game.
A C- Donovan game gets you a win.
Yeah, he was absolutely he was detrimental to the team, and I just did not see that coming.
Yeah, Brunson was the best player again, 29, 6 and 6, was 5 and 9 from 3. Cavs only made 6 threes. Again, another game with single-digit threes, 26%, more turnovers than the Knicks. Cavs only took 19 free throws to the Knicks' 28. I mean, it's been the difference most games. Rebounds, free throws, that's what's been killing them. One thing I wanted to ask you, Joe, we talked about this in the Discord too. I talk too much in the Discord. I can't help myself. I'm jacked up when these games are going on. But so Darius Garland, who the Cavs absolutely need on the floor at all times. I mean, he needs to play 42 minutes a game at this point. Yeah. He's one of the only shooters on the team, him and Donovan, from 3-point, and he's the only one. So when Garland is going, the team has a different energy because the guys know they might touch the ball. Like you love Donnie, but most of the time he's shooting to score. With Darius, you have to keep your head up if you're Evan or Jared, really anyone on the floor. He could give it up to you. But Darius gets his 3rd foul with 6 minutes to go in the second quarter. JB sits in the whole rest of the second quarter. That was something I kind of had an issue with. It's like, he can stay out of foul trouble for a couple minutes, play a little conservative. We cannot lose his shot making and shot creation ability, just in my opinion. What did you think of Jamie and Darius the last 6 minutes in second quarter?
I would agree with that. And especially with a point guard, you can hide them on defense. Like there's ways of like bigs that you can get hunted on bigs. So I can see why you want to bench but for like he's your motor, man. And you saw in the beginning of the second half, they cut the deficit out in what, 5 minutes, 4 minutes or something.
Did they come back too quickly? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like that was the best minutes of probably the whole series, and not including game 2. Like, and it was. I'm really, man. I went in the series. I thought JB was a good coach and a guy I can move forward with, but it's this is second guess. I'm really second guessing him now because he's been bad, like just bad, and it's either the rotation, the lack of anything, any kind of. I don't know why he keeps going to Rubio. I understood in game three. It was the first road game for all the young guys. Hey, let's see if this vet can kind of get it going here. It didn't work, and he cut it off in the second half. I don't think he's played in the second half. Then you bring him in game four. I'm like, what are we doing? Like that made no sense. And then you play Chetty way too much. Like Chetty is it's so funny. Like during the season, he would be buried sometimes for really head scratching things, and now he's like his favorite player. He puts him out there all the time. Like it's so crazy. And then Danny Green barely played in game three or game four. I just don't know. I don't know what he was doing, and it's this whole series is just been a head scratching series.
Yeah, one thing that's you talked about the bigs already. Jarrett's having a brutal
Brutal.
series. Evan is, I mean, he's playing good defensively, but he's not doing really much of anything offensively. And I'll tell you what, Joe, that was very uncharacteristic of him in the second half of game four. He had what, two or three possessions where he gave the Knicks and ones on just like goofy and one
Yeah,
fouls. And I mean, he's
yeah,
so
like
talented at avoiding contact.
right, yeah. Like he bit on a pump fake. Like
Yep.
that dude doesn't do that.
No.
This is see I'm giving him a pass on everything. I think this seems like his first welcome to the NBA moment. Like, doesn't it? It just feels like okay, shit, dude. I got, I got work to do.
Yep.
But like, I give him a little bit of pass because he's 21. This is second season and first playoffs, and it just seems like he's overwhelmed, and that happens.
Yeah, I mean, I personally expect guys like Darius, Donovan, and Jared to pick him up. I mean, they need to be the
Yeah,
guys that lead him. And I mean, he's basically, um, I know he's pretty banged up right now, but he's effectively taken out Randall out of the series. I mean, Randall is like unplayable right now. He's not making shots. He's not getting past Mobley. So he's doing his thing on defense. But yeah, he had some uncharacteristic and one fouls that really were just, I mean, killers. And
yeah,
I know it's little things, but a couple of different times it's just not going after the ball. It's like, hey, you gotta. I mean, this was the game. I mean,
yeah,
you and I talked, and the Cavs have the horses for it, but that's the one you gotta steal to give yourself a shot. Winning 3 games in a row is a tall task, and based off the
that's
physicality,
right.
I don't like their chances of
No,
stealing Game 6 minimally in New York if they can somehow figure out how to get a dub on Wednesday.
yeah, yeah. It's like they have the ability to win all three games, I think. But do I think it's happened? Probably not. Definitely not. Not the way they're playing. Like if they play like the second half, in the third quarter of game four, yeah, I think they win. I think they win all three games. But we've seen one quarter since game two.
Yeah.
Like I just don't know. I kind of talked about in the last pod. I don't know what to expect in game three, and I don't know what to expect in game five. Like I don't know what team shows up.
Yeah. I know it's really simple stuff, but Robinson in the paint's a problem for the Cavs offense. Got to get him out of there. So as much Darius and Jarrett high screen and roll, get Robinson out of the paint and go. And they had so much success with that in the third quarter. And then all of a sudden it's like, where did that go? What, I hate to, you can't run the same thing over and over and over again, but run counters off.
In the playoffs, you do until they
Right.
stop you. You don't
Right.
like,
Right.
and that's the crazy thing. Like Evan has been great in a lot of things. is picking like is not his best
Oh
suit.
yeah,
Like,
he's not a screener. Yeah, yep.
and JA is one of the best screeners in the league. He can really take out a guy and kind of open you up.
Yep.
Like the and also obviously it takes out Robinson from underneath the basket. Like it makes them have to go up to the free throw line. I just don't know why. It's just another head scratching move by JB. I don't know what he's kind of watching sometimes. I like things work and then he changes it. Like we saw off of game 2 that rotation worked and we haven't seen it since. Like he's been changing it up with Rubio and putting putting Danny Green in sometimes. Like I don't know what I'm I'm just at a loss of words, man. It's just crazy.
No, I hear you. We'll transition out. So I think we've kind of you know we've put game 4 to bed for the most part. Any last nuggets, thoughts, takeaways from game 4 that you had before we kind of move on and talk about what we think we need to see for game 5?
Um, game 4. No, it's just if we get Mitchell like that, we have no chance of. As we all talked about, if we get Mitchell playing like that, you can go home now. But we all know that.
Yeah, that's basically it. And Derpy Entertainment would agree. He says typical Cleveland sports, unless their name is Bob Feller, LeBron James, or Jim Brown. Same old, same old. I mean, this, we're very used to taking on Browns losses and having a miserable Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm not used to, this team gave you so much positivity and happiness, good memories the last 2 years. To play the way they're playing right now is just really disappointing. I don't have a better way to say it than that. It's just really disappointing the way they've played so far. And, I think there's 3 things. There's availability, who's on the roster. JB doesn't necessarily have a treasure trove to go to right now. Not going to put that on him. There's player execution. And then we've talked about quite a few decisions JB's made. So I'm kind of looking at it as a pillar of 3 different, pieces here, the pie chart. I don't know how much blame each one gets, but there's certainly more than 0% on each 3 of those buckets, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It is not. That's the frustrating part. It's not one thing.
Yeah.
Like it's obviously not making any kind of trades at the deadline to kind of improve the depth. It's JB's. I don't know what the heck he's doing decision making in this series, and then it's just the freaking players who are just getting dominated by a less talented team, but who is more physical than them. And that's that's how. Like I don't know how you want to divide it up, but there's blame to go around for everybody.
Yeah, I don't have any advanced metrics to back up this statement, but it just feels like they've punched the entire time, and it just feels like the Cavs are retreating. Like everything is trying to figure out after they've done something to the Cavaliers. It doesn't feel like at all, other than game 2 where the Cavaliers have come out. Yeah,
right. Game 2 is the first time they made an adjustment to what they did in game 1, and then we haven't seen it since. Like we haven't seen it since, and it's frustrating to see, and I don't know if it can change that quickly, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll put game 4 to bed. Joe and I will talk a little bit about game 5. Before then, I want to do a quick word from our sponsor. I'm going to scroll up here so I can read it. We've got a great deal with Underdog Fantasy for first-time depositors. Enter in the code WFNY at checkout, and Underdog will match your deposit up to $100. Underdog is a great platform if you are tired of the DFS salary system. There are tons of game types and drafts every night of the week for every sport. Don't forget, use WFNY at checkout to get your first-time deposit matched up to $100. So we officially, what do they do in football? They bury the football. Some crazy like assistant coach buries the ball in the backyard when there's a shit game that happened. Joe and I just buried the basketball in the backyard. Yeah. Now we're talking about game 5. We've shared a couple of things kind of through text and Discord, but Joe, if you had 1 or 2 adjustments, corrections, changes you'd want to see made, anything come top of mind to you that, hey, got to throw anything at the wall at this point? What's 1 or 2 moves you'd make to consider in a must-win game?
Well, number 1 would be Okoro as the starting lineup. That's number 1. Play Okoro more minutes than LeVert. I think he's he's playing. I don't know the minute distribution, but I don't think he's playing the seventh most minutes right now. Like Okoro needs to be in there, and he needs to. I think you brought it up in the Discord. He needs to match Brunson's minutes. Like he needs to be on him. If it runs him into the ground, it runs him into the ground. But he needs to guard him at any play time in the game that Brunson's out there. Brunson doesn't play like crazy minutes, so you can do that, and it just you gotta put what's best out there, and Okoro is the best on Brunson, and it's not even close. Like the stats back it up. Like every time he's out, every time he's on him, it's a good possession for the Cavs. Obviously, he's going to make the tough shots, but you rather see him make the tough shots than have just wide open, get to the lane kind of situations where we saw so many times when Chetty and Karis LeVert and Darius Garland were on there. So Okoro would be probably my first kind of thing to do. I would limit the Chetty minutes. He's just not been good. I think he's made like 1-3 last game, it seemed like, and like he's not even producing on offense. Like what I understand why he's in the game because he has that threat of shooting, but he hasn't shot it well. Like Okoro is shooting probably better than him. I would.
And if you're a Knicks fan, please, Chetty, shoot. Karis, shoot. Isaac,
right.
shoot. Ricky, shoot. I mean, all these guys, they're cool with any shot attempt from any of those four guys.
Exactly. Yeah. So limit, and then Danny Green should be back in the lineup. And then don't even try Rubio. Just don't. Like we know. He's not healthy. He's not the same Rubio. It sucks because he would be a perfect guy in the series if healthy and kind of back to his form, but he's not. So Rubio would be gone. And then I would force Darius and Mitchell to shoot 7+ threes, both of them. Like, just shoot them. I don't care if it goes in. You gotta shoot the three, man. Like, I don't. There's just so many times in the game where Darius doesn't shoot a three. Darius might be the worst at just not attempting it. Like, dude, you're one of the best shooting three-point shooters in the league. Shoot the damn ball, man. Like, I know you want to make the more efficient play down low, but you gotta shoot the damn three. Like, especially when they keep falling behind early, like you gotta make threes to kind of catch up, and that would be my big thing. And then Jay, just man up. That's all I have to say. Man up, dude. Like, you're getting destroyed by a very lesser player than you.
Yeah, it's been said Cavs have a bunch of nice guys. Well, they can't be nice anymore. They got to push, and it's too late in my opinion, but they got to give it their all in game 5. And I 100% agree with Okoro, and we've already talked about it, but putting your bigs at even more of a disadvantage by blitzing, helping off Brunson. The way you solve that is put Okoro on him and try to have Okoro stick with him, try not to switch too much. And just have Okoro battle. He's got the body for it. He should be fresh enough. He hasn't played a ton of minutes this series. So, I mean, the Cavs are having a hard time scoring, but they're doing that with Karis LeVert in the starting lineup the last 2 games. So how much worse could it possibly be with Isaac Okoro, who scored 9 points last game in 17 minutes?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like we keep saying, oh, they're only guarding 4 and 5. They're doing that in most of the lineups they're putting out there because it's either LeVert. Obviously, I think LeVert they would have to because he's been shooting well, but other than that, when Chetty's in the lineup, everybody else in the lineup, they don't care. They literally don't care. So you might as well put your best defender out there and go from there. And that's where the shooting of Darius and Mitchell have to come in. Shoot the damn ball.
You got to shoot it. I think we were almost at halftime, and between the two of them last game, there was 1 3-point attempt with a couple minutes to go in the second. It just can't happen. You have to shoot threes. This team has to shoot threes. And it needs to be Darius and Donnie, to your point. It should not be the rest of the crew. Darius and Donnie need to figure out a way to get, like you said, 12, 14 of those things up.
Yeah.
The one
Chetty should not be overshooting those two. Like not even close.
Yep. Wild boy Chetty. The one thing I had, you took a couple of the ones that I think that are evident to all of us, but you knocked them out of the park. I think just getting into the action early. I know the Knicks have long defenders and they're battling with Darius and Donnie, but you got to find a way to get separation. I know it's hard. They're bigger than you. They're taller than you. They're more physical. But, when there's so many possessions where the Cavs start with 6, 7, 8 seconds left, and it's just we live through that world with LeBron, but these guys are not LeBron. You're getting a worse quality shot because they don't have the body LeBron does with that amount of time left. And you just you're not going to get a good shot that way. And I just feel like they continue to get into that problem unless Darius is running that high pick and roll where it's starting nice and early. I mean, there are plays where Jarrett is screening Darius's man, and then Darius passes to Jarrett like around the free throw line. Jarrett's good enough to pass it out to the corner or to throw it to Mobley in the dunker spot. And it's just getting away from that is just insanity to me. So start your action early. Get Darius in the high pick and roll. I think it's essential. And like you said, just run it until they figure out how to break it. Run it over and over again. And the only other piece I have is, I mean, because the Cavs are kind of I'll call their bigs are a little bit more athletic, physically they're certainly they're smaller, but maybe just try to run a little bit more. I don't know. The Knicks guys are lumbering. Mitchell Robinson and Hartenstein are not quick guys. Allen and Mobley, I think are a little bit lighter on their feet. So if you can try to run, I know it's tough, but I think running, would free up the Cavaliers a little bit. And certainly just starting slow, waiting until there's 10, 12 seconds left is just a recipe for disaster when you got 3 or 4 guys, crowding the paint for the Knicks.
Yeah. I agree. I thought they played at a faster pace in that game 2, and they played really well. One other thing is just they gotta limit the turnovers, man. The turnovers are absolutely killing it because they come when the Knicks are not playing well. It seems to really correlate to that for some reason. Like they're struggling to score, and the Cavs have that chance to kind of go up, but they're just keep turning the ball over, and it's been Donnie, as we said, has been just absolutely terrible with the ball. Besides game 2, Darius has made some dumb passes. Evan Mobley has making some bad passes, and then JA has been kind of really bad at handling the ball. So they just need to be more under control with the ball, and then knowing what you want to do. How many times they just don't know they just don't look like they know what they're supposed to do? Like it's crazy. They just don't look like they're running anything. And then that's where you get to the 6, 7 seconds in the clock, and you're throwing it to DG or Donovan and hoping they can make a play. Like you just gotta run things with purpose, and we haven't seen that since game 2, and I don't know if that changes. Who knows? Because they haven't played with any pace all year. It's kind of been one of the. Obviously, it's hard when you have 2 bigs, but when the other team has 2 bigs too, like you should be able to run against them, and they haven't done it. It's frustrating to see.
Yeah, and Joe and I we're searching for all these tactical reasons of why the Cavs are struggling. You look at the series total. Donovan Mitchell shooting 43% from the field, 30% from 3. Darius is only shooting 42% from the field. LeVert shooting 42% from the field, 31% from 3. Evan Mobley shooting 47% from the field. He shot 60+% during the regular season. Chetty shooting 35% from the field, 25% from 3. The guys are just not making shots, and your key guys are not playing, up to their ability. So yeah, to me, it, there's a lot of tactical reasons too. And it's just like, guys, be better. Just be dudes. Go be dudes and be
And
better.
that's the crazy thing. Like Okoro gets the early hook when he's not shooting well, and then every other person on this team is struggling shooting. Like you got to treat everybody the same, man. Like at least Okoro is doing it on the defensive end, and he's driving. Like if he misses a couple, he drove really well yesterday. Um,
He did.
Obviously,
Yep.
he can struggle at the rim sometimes. He gets blocked, but he's at least attempting it. Like some guys are just jacking it up, even though they can't make it. Like it's at least there's like diversity in Okoro's game. And some of the guys are just keep continuing to shoot the same shot and they can't do it. So I just hope JB gives Okoro a longer leash next game and he starts and we'll see if that can help him. But I don't expect them. I really don't think JB will do that. He's made every wrong move and I just don't know if they're gonna do that. Do you think so?
I'm biting my
Like, do you
tongue.
think he's gonna?
Man, I honestly don't know. And the problem is I haven't known the last 2 games. I had no clue what he was going to do the past 2
Exactly.
games. I would have hoped it would have been Okoro, but I honestly can't say I have any clue what he's going to do Wednesday.
That's so true. That is so true. Like you have no, like I'm not going to be shocked that Rubio comes out in that first half. Like it's just
Yeah.
I just don't know what to expect from the guy, and
And it's tough. I'm sure Okoro's sitting there like, am I going to play 7 minutes tonight or am I going to play 38? We'll see. And I know the playoffs, you got to kind of battle, but the volatility, the trying to search and find right now is just, it's got to be tough on the players. I mean,
it's
got
gotta
to
be,
tough.
and it seems like he's taking it on Okoro because his minutes has been just up and down, up and down. He didn't play, barely played in game 2. Played. Well, I think he got in the second quarter of game 3, and then played a good stretch, and then disappeared. Like it's just like there's no rhyme or reason for anything. Like there was a rhyme or
Yeah.
reason for game 2 because they played extremely well with the Levert lineup. But now he's just throwing shit. He's just throwing shit against the wall and hoping it sticks. Like that's what he's basically doing.
Yeah, and this isn't I'm not trying to find like the perfect lineup. I just want some dudes out there that are gonna like try hard and bust their ass and play like Josh Hart plays for the entire game. And like Okoro to me is that guy. Like he's a guy who when he's out there, I know he's gonna go 1,000 miles an hour and I don't have to worry about effort, energy, trying to scrap, get on the ground. Like they just need some ass kicking. And I think Okoro can give that. And I can't say the same for other guys that are getting run off the bench right now. So that's my thing. It's like, I understand they're going to invite him to shoot. I just want someone who's going to be a little bit of an ass kicker. And so I would love to see some more Okoro minutes.
It's like the Chetty minutes are bad. And I saw Jay and Evan will just let the ball go through their legs and didn't get on the ground. I'm like, we got to get some energy out there. And Okoro is that guy. Like, you could blame him for a lot of things. He can't shoot sometimes, and he struggles with at the rim sometimes. But he is going to get on the ground, and he's going to get the ball and fight for it. And you need that. That's what you need in this series right now. You need some physicality. You need some effort. Like
that's what the playoffs are
game
all
3
about.
was effort. They played like shit, and they didn't look like they wanted to be there. Like game 3 was just. They didn't show up. They basically just did not show up. They didn't show any energy. They look shell shocked after that first run, and then they just didn't put any effort to kind of get back in the game. It was god awful, that game. I'm glad there was 2 games this weekend because that one was just forgettable, man. That was bad.
And we've still got a long 48 hours until Wednesday night till we can kind of, wash our mouths. I mean, I hope this is, chip building time, chip on the shoulder. Like you guys got your ass kicked 2 games in New York. You're at the brink. Like, what are you gonna do? I mean, game 4 was the answer game, but are you gonna lose in front of the home fans in game 5? You better go win this freaking game and force it back to New York, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And I was wrong on Madison Square Garden. That place was rocking. I thought it would be a bunch of
Yeah,
rich guys that kind of didn't. It would be more the mystique rather than the atmosphere, but that they were rocking, and it got in their heads badly.
Yep.
Like they,
yeah. I mean,
that crowd was so in their heads. It was bad.
You know, when you lose as much as the New York Knicks, I forgot how excited they'd be to actually have a shot at winning a playoff series. It's been forever since they've won one. So I completely forgot how desperate. You know, when you go to the finals 4 years in a row, you don't get excited for a round 1 series as much. But no, I mean, they're kicking our ass. So good for them and good on them, I guess.
I was impressed.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty depressed. You've been podcasting for an hour and 45 minutes, so that was really all I had. Joe, any parting thoughts? Game 5, prediction. Maybe let's close with that. Game 5 prediction. What do you think happens?
I'm gonna say the same thing I said for game 3. I have no freaking idea. I have no idea. all I want is just have some respect for themselves. Don't get freaking run off the floor. If you get run off the floor, then I'm really thinking about making big changes this off season. JB will probably be gone. I would think about I don't know, the big four, something might have to change there, but like have some respect. Like you need to win game 5. There's no chance that they should be winning this series on your home floor. So have some respect, win this freaking game. But I can't predict what's going to happen. I have no idea what team's going to show up.
Yep. Yeah, it's so valuable for us to get intel on this team, the core 4, the pieces around the core 4 right now. You got to get as many games as possible. I'm frustrated by the lack of this team getting 2 playoff series more than likely, unless they can win 3 straight. I'm frustrated that the next series would be a potential Miami Heat team or a Bucks team that may not have Giannis. It's very frustrating circumstances right now. Game 5, I do think they figure out a way to get it done. Maybe the Knicks, kind of take it easy, loaf. The Cavs can smack them around, and then we'll go from there. I'm not going to get invested. The one thing I told myself, I'm not getting invested until there's a game 6 win. Game 5 win does nothing for me. Wake me up if they win game 6 in New York and we're coming back to Cleveland. I'm sorry, I'm a little down. That's just how I'm
am the same way. You gotta show me, and showing me with a win in game 5 is not going to show me. Like I will get excited if they're leading at half of game 6 and like they're playing well. Like I'll be like, okay, we're showing something. But before then, you get nothing from me. This team has underperformed greatly, and it's really looking like that this team is just not ready for this moment, and that's disappointing, man. I thought they were going to be ready for the moment, and they look shell shocked. They look not ready for this. It just seemed like they had no idea what the playoffs entailed, like because the physicality is just taking them out of the game, and we'll see if anything changes going into game 5 and 6, 7, hopefully.
Yep. Yeah, we'll see. We'll Joe and I will wrap it up here tonight. We'll be sure to kind of touch base after Wednesday to see how things go. We'll see if the Cavs can make it that far. We did a very good job restraining ourselves, talking about any kind of front office player personnel changes. We swore we would hold that until after the season. So there's a lot to be said, but we didn't want to go too far tonight. Cavs still are in it. They still got a shot. They're down 3-1. If they can figure out a way to force the pressure back on the New York to win game 6, you never know what can happen with Donovan and Darius. We'll see what happens. We'll be back. Thank you all for listening this evening. And Joe, enjoy your lozenge, your salt water, your gargle. You've been podding for 2 hours. So thank you for joining tonight, man. I appreciate it. All right. Okay.